3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the next English lesson. So we are finishing learning from book 6. Yes, I think it's the last lesson in the book. And what's the plan for today?
So the plan for today, we're going to revise Unit 29 and then study Unit 30, which is the last unit of the book. Yeah, and do a bit of communication.
Okay.
Yeah, exercises.
And I'm rewriting it into the notebook, and the best way to write it down is to read a sentence, memorize it and write it, and then it's like a dictation, and then okay.
So we start Unit 29. Can you remind me, like, 3 words?
3 words.
Let me make it small. 3 words to remember from last time.
Okay, it's to permit and a permit, as to estimate and an estimation, to estimate and an estimation. And there was some tricky, one moment, was some tricky also, estimate, no, was something else tricky, and
Something tricky?
something tricky, yes, it was like, no. It was before, and even accordingly, a company and a companied, checking dictionary, and tricky was estimation, yes, to estimate, estimation, and
estimation, go up and
an estimate. Estimate.
An
estimate.
There's an estimate,
Yeah, to estimate, an estimate, an estimate, and an estimation. It's like
it's there. There are 3.
Tricky
to
is
estimate, estimate.
Estimate and estimation. It's for me like, why can't they have an estimate and estimation as a one word actually? Yes.
Yeah,
to make it so difficult. Okay.
So we start. Okay. So estimate.
Estimate to oceniać.
So estimate.
An estimate is ocena.
Estimation.
Estimation, ocena, mniemanie, szacunek. Okay.
Go up and down somebody's estimation.
And go up and down somebody's estimation, tracić uznanie, ale zyskiwać, tracić uznanie.
Okay, excellent. At a rough estimate, how much time do you need to finish the stage? At a rough estimate, how much time do you need to finish the stage?
Yeah, at a rough estimate, I need about 3 lessons to finish this book.
Okay. Is it easy to estimate the future value of shares? Is it easy to estimate future value of shares?
For me, it's not easy to estimate a future value of shares. Plural of shares.
How many people do you estimate suffer from famine in Africa? How many people do you estimate suffer from famine in Africa?
I think about 3 million people suffer from famine in Africa.
Very good. In your estimation, who's been the best prime minister in your country? In your estimation, who's been the best prime minister in your country?
Donald Tusk was the best prime minister in my country.
Okay.
And half of the viewers will hate me.
Really? He was the worst to many?
The worst? Okay, yes, it doesn't matter. Half will love me and half will hate me.
Okay. What does a person have to do to go down in your estimation? What does a person have to do to go down in your estimation?
I think the person has to
Let you down.
let me down, to go, disappoint me, to go down.
Circle.
Y,
Okay, you can translate.
Circle, zakreślać koło.
Emergency.
Emergency, nagła sytuacja, krytyczna sytuacja, nagły wypadek.
Okay, fuel.
Fuel, paliwo.
Excellent. Why does an airplane circle the airport before an emergency landing? Why does an airplane circle the airport before an emergency landing?
An airplane circle the airport before landing,
Before
an emergency landing to get rid of fuel.
Yeah, excellent. To get rid of excess
of
fuel.
the fuel.
Excess fuel.
Excess fuel. Okay.
What do teachers do with students' spelling mistakes in a dictation? What do teachers do with students' spelling mistakes in a dictation? What do teachers do with students?
Yes.
Students' spelling mistakes in a dictation.
Teachers circle the spelling mistakes in dictations.
Now with
a red pen. Poland.
Excellent. In what situation does the government declare a state of emergency? In what situations does the government declare a state of emergency?
A government declares a state of emergency when when there is a flood, big flood, or
natural disasters.
National disasters.
Natural
disasters in the country. Yes.
Oh yeah. Or like in US, probably when there's riots, routine. Why are local authorities granted emergency powers? Why are local authorities granted emergency powers?
Local authorities are granted emergency powers to be I don't know, like to have rights
to have the authority
to have an authority to do something in the region.
No, to have the authority to stop or to act upon like emergency situations, basically.
Okay, to be able
because
to
they were
act
saying here because emergency situation need exceptional powers.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. Come on. If you're an authority, you know you're gonna make emergencies. Definitely. Being an authority already gives you the power. So.
An emergency gives you extra power.
Would you mean it gives you extra power? But no, I think like you already have the power, but you treat the emergency differently, definitely, because it's an emergency. But I don't see how you have emergency powers
for emergency situations. Okay.
Why mustn't an emergency exit be bold? Why mustn't an emergency exit be bold?
No, why an emergency?
Yeah,
why an emergency
exit can't be bold, basically.
Bound. Barred.
Yes.
Okay, and an emergency exit can't be barred because there will be no place to escape.
Yeah, during
an emergency situation.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah. Here that's because we never know when an emergency will arise.
Oh, yes,
yeah, that's true, because you never know when. Also, that could also be a good reason why. Okay. Sewer, sewage, dispose of, rodent, dispose of, sewage, sewer. Okay, you can repeat.
Okay.
Sewer.
I don't
Sewage.
Sewage.
Dispose of.
Dispose of.
Rodent.
Rodent. Okay.
Okay, translate. Rodent.
Rodent. Zbędny. Rodent, gryzoń. Gryzoń, rodent.
Dispose of.
To dispose of.
Yeah, to dispose of. To dispose of.
Pozbyć się.
Sewage.
Sewage, ścieki.
Sewer.
Sewer, ściek.
Okay.
And sewer, yes?
Yeah. What's a sewer system?
What's
a sewer system?
The sewer system is it's a net.
So a sewer system is a system.
It's a system of
pipes.
Of pipes. System of pipes
that are
under the ground.
Carrying
sewage.
From
households.
And from household and factories.
Factories, yes.
And doing what with them?
And disposing it.
Excellent. And disposing them. Disposing them. Very good. What are the hated rodents that often live in sewers? What are the hated rodents that often live in sewers?
The hated rodents that often live in sewers are rats.
Excellent. Why do people have to treat sewage with chemicals before it's disposed of into rivers or seas? Why do people have to treat sewage with chemicals before it's disposed of into rivers or seas?
People have to treat the sewers before they with chemicals before they get to seas. Rivers.
Before it's disposed.
Before it's disposed into rivers and
or
seas.
For health reasons. Okay. For health reasons, in order to protect the environment. For health reasons.
For health reasons, to protect the environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can also say health. Yeah, you can say that. But most of the time, the primary objective, of course, is the environment, which one way or the other will affect the health. Are trains allowed to dispose of sewage from toilets when they are at the station? Are trains allowed to dispose of sewage from toilets when they are at the station?
No, trains are not allowed to dispose of sewage when they are at the station.
Very good.
Yeah, okay, yes. No.
I actually didn't know this, but I can imagine.
No, it's more about using toilets, not about,
it's being at the station or not.
Yeah, if it's at the station, I don't know, I think they don't keep it on the train. Or if they keep it, then at the station they should dispose
of it.
Yes.
How far from a port do you think must a ship be to be allowed to dispose of sewage? How far from a port do you think? How far from a port do you think?
Yes.
No.
Yes. How far from the port you think?
Do you think a ship must be? Not must a ship be. A ship must be. To be allowed to dispose of sewage?
Yes, I think the ship must be at least 10 miles from the shore to be allowed to dispose of sewage.
Yeah. That's all. What are 2 reasons some people may be afraid of nuclear power plants? Why? What are 2 reasons, some people may be afraid of nuclear power plants?
There are two reasons that people are afraid of nuclear power plants are that they dispose nuclear waste and they can explode.
Yeah, they can cause the explosions or other problems to the environment. Even they can cause also health issues, health problems, especially respiratory issues.
Yes, I agree.
Contamination, radioactive, filter, fallout, filter, radioactive, contamination, contaminate. So to contaminate
is zanieczyszczać.
Excellent. Contamination.
Contamination, zanieczyszczenie.
Radioactive.
Radioaktywny.
Filter.
Filter.
To filter, I think, in the filter.
Filter. Filtrować.
Excellent. Fallout.
Odpad.
Very good. Why? Here's opad.
Opad.
Why do we have to filter drinking water? Why do we have to filter drinking water?
We have to filter drinking water to have clear water. Contamination.
In order to remove.
In order to remove contamination of it.
Yeah. In order to remove contamination, basically.
Contamination.
Yeah. Do you have any filters for tap water in the house? Do you have any filters? For tap water in the house?
Yes, I have a filter for tap water in my house.
Okay. Where are they installed?
They are installed under the sink.
Under the sink. Okay, very good. Sink in the. And your sink is where?
In the kitchen.
Excellent. What are possible sources of water contamination in an urban area? What are possible sources of water contamination in an urban area?
The possible sources of water contamination in urban areas are human households and
household what?
Household waste, okay, and
various toxic chemicals.
Yes.
Or sewers. Basically the same. Yeah.
Sewers. Okay.
Sewers or various toxic chemicals from either
Okay. Okay.
From vehicles or from machines. What can cause water contamination in the natural environment? What can cause water contamination in the natural environment?
Acid rains can cause water contamination, and bacteria can cause water contamination in the natural environment. Okay.
What can cause water contamination in the natural environment?
Acid rains and bacteria can cause water contamination in natural environment.
Very good. What can be the danger of contact of an open cut with contaminated blood? What can be the danger of contact of an open cut with contaminated blood?
Contact an open cut with
the danger
of a contact
of an open cut.
The danger of a contact with an open cut.
No, a danger of contact of an open cut with.
Okay, a danger of contact an open cut with.
Danger of contact of.
Danger of contact of an open cut with.
Excellent.
Contaminated blood can can
The
be.
danger can be
Danger can
high
be.
risk of infection, that's all. You can get
Infection.
infected. Yeah. If the grass is contaminated, it's gonna infect you.
Infect, okay.
Or a serious disease. How can the contamination of fresh water affect the life of mammals? How can the contamination of fresh water affect the life of animals?
The contamination of fresh water
Can affect.
can affect animals by having health problems
Yeah. Or even death from thirst.
and death. Okay.
Give me examples of species which were seriously affected due to the contamination caused by the BP spill in the Mexican Gulf. Give me an example of species which was seriously affected due to the contamination caused by the BP spill in the Mexican Gulf.
Maybe some birds, dolphins, sharks were affected by oil spill in Mexican Gulf.
Yeah, in the Mexican Gulf.
Okay.
That's all. What kind of filters can security software provide us with? What kind of filters can security software provide us with?
Security software can provide us with an email spam filter.
Usually,
Okay, yes. Spam filter and something else?
Tools to filter out other websites, which are not appropriate for children, apparently. Yeah.
Okay,
usually spam filters, even viruses filters.
Viruses. Okay.
You can say what accident caused the radioactive contamination in Ukraine and the neighboring countries in 1986. B, in Japan in 2011. What accident caused the radioactive contamination in Ukraine and neighboring countries in 1986? The explosion in the
Chernobyl
nuclear plant.
And in Fukushima nuclear plant.
And for the Japan in 2011, it was caused by Fukushima.
Fukushima was caused by, it was a nuclear plant.
Yes, caused by damages of
tsunami.
And earthquakes. Excellent. History lesson. Okay. Obtain, acquire, field, acquire, obtain.
Obtain, acquire, and field.
Excellent. So obtain you can translate
obtain.
To obtain.
Przestrzegać.
To acquire.
Acquire, przestrzegać. Nabywać. Acquire, nabywać.
Acquire something. Field,
pole.
Okay.
Dziedzina. Okay. Yes.
So obtain and acquire are similar in meaning. Generally, we can obtain information, something, a letter, a piece of advice, or a work permit. But we acquire knowledge, languages, skills, or an advanced level in typing. Yeah, so acquire usually is for language, skills, intangible things. Skills, knowledge, languages, or advanced level in typing. So obtain is for information, letter, piece of advice, a work permit, usually tangible things. A letter besides a piece of advice, because you don't say we acquire a piece of advice, you obtain a piece of advice. Yeah, and the work permit, or information basically. So give me an example of a sentence with the word obtain and the word acquire. Give me an example of a sentence with the word obtain and the word acquire.
I acquire A piece of information from you. I obtain.
Yeah.
I obtain some information from you.
Yeah, I obtained information
and
about be precise so that it makes more sense.
I acquired documents from you. Yes, and I obtain. I don't know. Obtain.
No, you just said obtain though.
I obtain and I acquire.
You acquired. What did you acquire?
I don't know.
Knowledge, skills, languages, advanced level in typing.
Acquire. Okay. Okay.
So you acquired, for example.
I acquired. Nabywać. I acquired. Okay.
A language.
A language. Okay.
Yeah, you acquired German when? When did you, for example, acquire German?
I acquired, no, maybe not German, but I acquired Spanish. I acquired Spanish on Mondays.
Okay, what are the synonyms of the words obtain and acquire? What are the synonyms of the words obtain and acquire?
Obtain.
And acquire, because they're already similar. So they
acquire, learn, get.
Gain.
Gain.
Get. Excellent.
Get, learn. Yes.
Yeah, you also learn. In which scientific fields did these people acquire very advanced knowledge? In which scientific fields did these people acquire very advanced knowledge? A. Marie Curie. What the hell is that French? Curie. Marie Curie.
It was a Polish, let's say, scientist.
It's a Polish scientist?
And she emigrated to France. There's a film about it too. And then he worked at university.
She's a professor?
Yes, he got married with him. And then they made up some molecules, I think. And they were treated it for cancer even. And then to use this knowledge, then he got an accident and he got married with his friend. And even after a couple of years, the grandparents of these both families, then also some of them got married after years, and she got 2 Nobel Prize.
You're killing me. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Okay, she's that knowledgeable.
But she was a Polish immigrant then. Yes, and then she has, I think, friend or families from family. So she was.
But she was fully Polish.
And then I think she helped her. She worked and she was able to study or learn in France, in Paris, and then she developed it. And this was a time when she was, I think, first woman who got Nobel Prize, because it was a time that they wanted in Paris hire her at university because women can't do such things. And also it was, but Swedish were all like in general they all okay. The university, it's maybe university. I don't know. Some guys said that she can't get Nobel Prize, and then this association said, why not? Maybe we'll give her this Nobel Prize and it will be fun. So, and then but she got twice. So
nice.
She was a scientist. And
so in the field of chemistry.
Chemistry.
So B. Albert Einstein. It's in which field?
Albert Einstein, physics.
Einstein, physics. Month, right?
Sigmund Freud. He was
Freud.
the most famous psychiatrist.
Oh.
Sigmund Freud.
I've never heard of it. Interesting.
All these things why people think and behave.
Psychoanalysis, basically.
Why people behave so started from him, but I think his student was more.
He was which from
was more famous and was more like he was maybe less famous but more.
Which nationality?
I think Austrian.
Okay. Nice, interesting.
It's also on Netflix now movie.
Really?
Sigmund Freud, about Freud, how it was.
Like a documentary about him?
No, it's just film, yes. Maybe not as a documentary, but based on his life, on what they know, I think.
Ah, like a film, an adaptation movie. Nice. Nicolaus Copernicus. Do you know the guy?
Nicolaus Copernicus, he was also a Polish guy.
Okay, he's Polish.
But he lived like in, like say, not far away from here, and but it was like it was that time Germany, I think. But he got famous because his uncle was a pope. So that's why he was even able to do anything, and he wanted also to be a cardinal or something, I don't know.
Really?
So that's why he said.
So he was a priest?
I think he didn't want to do.
Okay.
But then he is famous as the first person to say that the earth is not flat, but it's round, and it's going around the sun, and not that we are in the center of the galaxy.
The revolution of the earth around the sun.
Yeah. He moves, like you say, he moves the sun.
Rotates around the sun.
He moves the earth and stops the sun. So probably the other people knew it, but at some point he got like, at that time he got popular
because of that subject.
To prove it, or I think officially prove it.
Astronomy, okay. So Jane Goodall, in which field?
I don't know, I've never heard
Evolution
about
and biology.
Evolution.
Probably e-biology, so I mean something about genes, probably.
But more popular, they should put the Darwin, yes?
What has Silvio acquired his bad reputation for? What has Silvio Berlusconi acquired his bad reputation for?
Have you ever heard about Silvio Berlusconi? Never heard. He is the most famous prime minister of Italy. And he was organizing Bunga Bunga.
Bunga Bunga? Really?
So he was organizing parties for all rich and power people with young girls, and and some was at some point they convinced one of the girls to say what was going on there, and he was taking part or even organizing it, maybe. And then at some point he was laughing about it, and he, even his children, like went to call to him. He had all this TV, Rai Uno, Rai Du, all the TV. He owns all this.
Oh, he owned the media.
Yeah, and he was prime minister then. Then I think his party lost the position, and then there was election, and he came back, and he is a good friend of Putin, and
oh my goodness.
And he is always the worst in Italy or in general. But some people voted for him, but because my Italian friends told me, they voted for him, and he is the worst, but there is no better in Italy guy to be the prime minister, and I think a couple years ago they chose him to be again.
Money and power, basically. So he acquired his bad reputation.
He acquired his bad reputation from organizing Bunga Bunga.
Excellent. What do you often need to obtain to be able to work in another country? What do you often need to obtain to be able to work in another country?
You must obtain a work permit to work in another country.
Why do people sometimes decide to change their jobs? Why do people sometimes decide to change their jobs? Simply.
People change their jobs to acquire new skills.
Okay.
Yes.
Harmful, harmless, X-ray, X-ray, harmless, harmful.
Harmful, harmless, and
X-ray.
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 X-ray to będzie rentgen.
Okay, harmless.
Harmless, nieszkodliwy.
Harmful.
Harmful, szkodliwy.
Okay, give me examples of food which may be harmful to people with allergies even in small quantities. Give me an example of food which may be harmful to people with allergies even in small quantities.
Food with, I don't know, it can be harmful for...
Yeah, for example, you can start with like milk.
Some nuts, yes?
Nuts, definitely
yes,
nuts.
Yes. And some...
And milk too.
Yes, milk and...
Here they also say flour, but I don't know. I've never seen
flour. When you smell it, then it can be harmful for people with allergies.
Yeah. Why do you think? What do you think are the most harmful habits? What do you think are the most harmful habits?
Chewing nicotine is very harmful habit. Chewing. Like these baseball players chew it because it makes me very active and they needed quick reaction. So, and it's very, very, very impossible then get out of it. So you have this nicotine smoking. You can at some point there are strategies to stop. And when you chew nicotine, it's like, oh, I've heard it.
And how many people actually chew it?
Chew it, yeah.
Would you say sunbathing was harmful or harmless to sensitive skin? Would you say sunbathing was harmful or harmless to sensitive skin?
Is sunbathing?
Yeah, sunbathing.
Sunbathing, okay. Yes, I think sunbathing is very harmful for sensitive skin.
Yeah, so you'd say it's harmful to sensitive skin. If a dog owner claimed that his Phil's dog was harmless, would you believe him? If a dog owner claimed that his Phil's dog was harmless, would you believe him?
No. If a dog owner of a Phil's dog told me this dog is harmless, I would never believe him. Like,
here they say yes, apparently.
Yes, it's like...
yes.
I don't know this dog, you know.
Exactly.
Especially
you're
dog.
the owner, exactly. So to you it's different because you're the owner, it's your dog.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Like for them there's no harmful infused dogs, but like come on, like, this dog doesn't know me, so you don't know the final reaction of me.
To you being a stranger. Is having an X-ray completely harmless? Is having an X-ray completely harmless?
No, having an X-ray isn't completely harmless.
It's
always a little harmful.
Parasite, predator, worm, predator, parasite.
Parasite, predator, and worm.
Parasite.
Parasite, pasożyt.
Predator.
Predator, drapieżnik.
Worm.
Worm, robal.
Okay, what's a parasite?
Parasite is an animal which lives on...
which lives and feeds.
And lives and feeds on
other
another
animals.
Another animals?
Yeah,
Okay.
because parasites eat like worms, especially worms or insects. Give me an example of large predators which belong to the cat family. Give me an example of large predators which belong to the cat family.
Puma, lion, and cheetah tiger belong to the family of big cat. Big large cat predators.
Large cat predators. Okay. Excellent. You don't even need to say the cat family. What's the difference between a parasite and a predator?
A parasite is an animal that lives.
That is often much smaller.
Very small. It lives in another animal and feeds and lives in another animal. And the predator, predator is a predator and catch other animals to eat them.
Apparently you're the same. A parasite is often much smaller than the animal, the predator. It feeds on and it doesn't kill, than the animal it feeds on and it doesn't kill its host immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, because it survives inside the host definitely, so it doesn't kill you.
Never kill the host.
Yeah, it may never even kill you, exactly.
Yeah.
But a predator definitely, if you meet him, you're dead. I don't know, if you survive, you're lucky. How can a person get infected with parasites? How can a person get infected with parasites?
I don't know how.
Contaminated by drinking, for example.
Okay.
Water most of the time.
Okay. People get
infected.
Infected
by parasites.
By parasites by drinking contaminated water.
Yeah. What's the danger of having one's digestive system infected with parasites? What's the danger of having one's digestive system infected with parasites?
If your digesting system is infected by a parasite, you have it's harmful
to
your digesting system.
To your what in general? To your
health.
To your health in general, and quite painful. Of course, if it's harmful, it's painful. Are parasites in human contagious? Are parasites in human contagious? That is, can they be passed from one person to another? Are parasites in human contagious? Can they be passed from one person to another?
Yes, the parasites in humans are contagious. That means they are passed from one person to another.
Okay, very good. What could you call a 30-year-old man still living with his parents at the expense? What could you call a 30-year-old man still living with his parents at the expense?
I could call this person a parasite.
I could call a 30-year-old man.
I could call a 30-year-old man living at the expense of the parents a parasite. Yes?
Yeah, still living with his parents at the expense. Even if you don't live with them, at the expense, a parasite.
At the expense.
Yeah. Okay. Voluntary. Volunteer, terminally ill, participate, terminally ill, voluntary,
to voluntary, a volunteer.
No.
Voluntary.
No, voluntary. Like voluntary. If I do something voluntary.
Dobrowolny ochotniczy. Okej, dobrowolny ochotniczy. Okej.
Volunteer.
Volunteer.
Volunteer,
wolontariusz, ochotnik.
Terminally ill.
Terminally ill, śmiertelnie chory.
Participate,
uczestniczyć.
Would you volunteer for a medical experiment? Would you volunteer for a medical experiment?
No, I wouldn't volunteer for a medical experiment.
Same. Who do you think would be more willing to participate in a medical research? A terminally ill patient or a healthy person? Who do you think would be more willing to participate in a medical research? A terminally ill patient or a healthy person?
I think a terminally ill person would
Patient
would be more willing to participate in a medical research than a healthy person.
Excellent. Give me the name of a voluntary organization. Give me the name of a voluntary organization.
UNICEF is a voluntary organization.
Okay. Why do people join voluntary organizations such as the Red Cross? Why do people join voluntary organizations such as the Red Cross?
People join a voluntary organization such as Red Cross because they want to participate in helping people.
Yeah, to help people basically.
Volunteer in
just to help people.
in international projects.
Yeah. Have you ever worked as a volunteer?
Yes, I have ever worked as a volunteer.
If a neighboring country started a war with your country, would you volunteer to fight for your country? If a neighboring country started a war with your country, would you volunteer to fight for your country?
Yes, if my country...
If a neighboring country?
If a foreign country attacked my country?
No, neighbor. Like
neighbor countries, I wouldn't volunteer to fight for that country.
No. If a neighboring country
yes,
started a war with your country,
okay.
Would you volunteer to fight for your country?
I think I can't say volunteer. I had to fight.
You still need to see if you have skills to fight.
Yes, I would volunteer to fight for my country if a neighboring country started a war with my country. Yes.
Okay. What kind of language activities do you like to participate in the most?
I like such activities like working in pairs. The most conversation as the most interesting activity.
Definitely.
By learning languages.
Okay, new words. Fed up with. Entire. Lecture. Lecture. Entire. Fed up with.
Fed up with.
Entire.
Entire.
Lecture.
Lecturer.
Fed up with.
Mieć dosyć, a tutaj znudzony. Okej.
Entire.
Cały.
Lecture.
Wykład.
Lecturer.
Wykładowca, lektor.
Would you be fed up with the weather if it rained for an entire month? Would you be fed up with the weather if it rained for an entire month?
Yes, I would be fed up with weather if it rained for an entire month.
Very good. If you had an appointment with a person and that person was late, how long would you wait before you were totally fed up and decided to leave? If you had an appointment with a person and that person was late, how long would you wait before you were totally fed up and decided to leave?
Yes, if I were appointed with a person.
If I had an appointment.
If I had an appointment with a person.
And that person was.
And that person was late, I would wait about 20 minutes before I were totally fed up
and
decided to leave.
Excellent.
Yes.
What kind of look do students usually have on their faces when the lecture or the lecturer is boring? What kind of look do students usually how on their faces when the lecture or the lecturer is boring?
The students have a fed up look on their face when
on their faces?
On their faces when the lecture and the lecturer
the lecturer is boring.
Is boring.
Very good. Have you ever had to attend a boring lecture?
Yes, I've ever had to attend a boring lecture.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you have attended one. Interesting. So before we do this small communication here, can you ask me some questions with volunteer?
Volunteer. Have you ever participated in a project as a volunteer?
Yes, I've ever participated in a project as a volunteer. Very good. Words at the same time. Contaminate.
Have you ever had to drink a contaminated and radioactive water?
What? Have I ever
Have
had?
you ever had to drink contaminated and radioactive water? I think water can be also radioactive if it's gets some
contaminated water. Yeah, I think I've drunk contaminated water.
With parasites.
Yeah, because I did get sick. Something. Yeah, so definitely. I may have drunk at some point contaminated water. Let's see. Fallout.
And fallout is that fallout is a kind of acid rain, yes? Or fallout.
Fallout, opad.
Yes. And so, was the water you were drinking contaminated because fallout? A contaminated fallout?
No, never. I've never had to drink like water which were contaminated as a result of a fallout.
Because then we had
a fallout of acidic rain or.
We have something, or we had, for sure we had before something like this because of industry, and then because maybe Chernobyl, and that's why it was radioactive fallout or acid rain fallout.
Okay, so dispose of
pozbywać się. How do you dispose of sewage of your household?
How do I dispose of it?
How do they dispose of sewage of the building where you live?
Yeah, using pipes, using the sewer system.
It's about using only words.
Yeah, exactly. With this, it's disposed of through the sewage system, through the pipes that are underground. Yeah, and probably disposed of into some river or a sea.
No, not river. Sometimes no, it's a sewage plant.
There's a plant.
They send it to sewage plants.
To a sewage plant then.
And then to
recycle.
Then to build up.
Then build it. Emergency then. Emergency.
Emergency. How many emergency situations have you had today?
I have heard more than one emergency situations today.
And me too.
You too.
Yeah.
I know.
I had to print one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Immediately.
And my emergency also affected you. It ended up becoming your emergency too. So yeah. Okay. So we're going to do a bit of some questions here before we do a bit of communication. Stock exchange. So some additional question. What on stock exchange? What does this expressions mean? To be on a shaky ground.
To be on a shaking ground. You mean this? How do they say?
To be on a basically,
shaking ground.
yeah, to be
ground.
not stable means it's not stable.
Shaking ground.
It's still nurturing. It's
To
an
be in the
infant.
situation that you know that you cannot fully take control of the situation.
Exactly. You're not stable, basically.
Not
When
stable.
if you're on a shaky ground. To be to recover.
To recover and question. What does it mean? Yes.
Yeah, to recover. Yeah. On
Reco-
stock exchange, to recover.
To recover or
Mhm.
recover on the stock exchange.
Go to recover. Like just expression to recover. What does it mean?
Recover, to go back to the previous
To
state.
recover. No, to recover or to get back from, like, usually when you recover, it means you're recovering. Usually recover it's used when you're coming out of a bad situation. Dealing with a bad situation, yeah. Recover from an illness, recover from, I don't know, from a loss, from an accident, yeah. Okay. To rocket. To rocket.
To rocket, to get.
To rocket. For example, the stock exchange market rocketed.
Yes, to go.
To grow.
To grow, to go out to the
Yeah.
extent.
To maximize your fullest potential, to develop. Yeah.
To develop, okay.
To develop. To grow.
Strzelić, to...
Has the stock exchange in your country recovered from the losses of the 2008 crisis?
Once again?
Has the stock exchange in your country recovered from the losses of the 2008 crisis?
Yes, the stock exchange of my country has recovered from the crisis from 2008.
Why is investing money on the stock Why is investing money on the stock exchange so risky?
Investing money in stock exchanges is so risky because you can lose your money.
Because prices are volatile. You sell shares are volatile. The price will always change. They're never the same. It's change all the time. What ways of investing money are safer? In this condition, what ways of investing money are safer?
The ways of investing money, the safer ways of investing money are governmental bonds, for example.
Governmental bonds, yeah. Okay. What skills do people who work on the stock? What skills do people who work on the stock exchange need? What skills do people who work on the stock exchange need?
Quick reactions are the what skills that people working on the stock exchange need.
Yeah, quick reaction, basically. Yeah. Good at making decisions.
And good information, very reliable information.
Yeah, well educated, basically. Let's get so you can open your book and we do this. We'll only do the dialogue exercise 2. Exercise 2.
Exercise 2. Listen to the dialogue between the people and answer the questions below. Looks like the stock are poised to open flat today. Well, I think you are optimistic. They really are on shaky ground ahead of the bell. I'm tracking futures right now and VIX is not set for losses. Really, what about the blue chip stock? Futures are slipping. That's too bad. I bought some key GH stocks 2 weeks ago. and have already lost 10%. They plunged 3.5% yesterday. I think they'll shoot up today because the price is of copper is much higher this morning. But these are the prices on the Shanghai Composite stock. Track the prices at LME. Commodities are weaker than yesterday. Dow Jones is 20 points lower ahead of the opening bell too. Only light crude oil is gaining. Why is it that? It's because of the situation in Egypt. Mubarak said he wouldn't stand down. And do you think it could inflame the public in Cairo and inspire protests? I don't know. It seems investors are more concerned about what influence Egypt is going to have on some European banks. The French invested billions there. The price of oil must be really on the slipping reserves. What do you suggest I do? What do you suggest I do? Sell the KGH stocks. Wait till Wednesday. They are going to publish some data on unemployment in the USA. If it's above the market expectation, the stock should recover most of the losses. Thanks. Let's Skype on Wednesday. All right, looking forward to it.
So some questions on the communication. Why does Janine think that Steve is too optimistic? Oh, some new words. Did you see the new words?
Yes.
Track.
Okay.
To track something.
Commodity.
Same like goods is the same. Goods. Copper.
Okay. Be ahead of crude.
And be ahead of.
Crude.
Yeah, crude. Slipping. Reserve. Okay, can you, so we answer some questions. Do you know why, you can look it up. Why does Janine think
Steve is too optimistic?
Is too optimistic?
Because she thinks future is slipping and they because KHH lost 10%.
Yeah, and Steve thinks, that's super, okay. He lost 10%, okay, fine. He thinks the stocks are poised to open flat today. And Janine thinks otherwise because some futures slipped away. Very good. According to Steve, the stocks will lose 2% at the opening.
Yes, they lose 2% at the opening, gain 7.7% at the opening, lose or gain between 0 and 0.1% at the opening.
Which one is the correct one?
Lose, I think he said not 3%? 3.1.
They punched 3.5 yesterday.
Why, according to Steve, the stocks will... Why 2%? Check the future, check the price. I think we'll also gain the flat. So what Steve said? Yeah, Steve looks the stocks are flat and maybe so 0 and 0.1.
At the opening, very good. What do you think a future contract measures?
Contract measures. What do you think a future contract measures? And what do you think a future contract measures?
It's not very detailed. They should have talked to you about future contracts with what? Tracking futures right now. Okay, why does Janine think that Steve is wrong about the price of copper?
Price of copper.
Why does Janine think that Steve is wrong about the price of copper?
Because this morning the price is much higher.
Were much higher, okay.
Mm-hmm.
They were much higher for which?
This morning shoot up, rock today because
only light crude oil was gaining, and the prices on the Shanghai, according to the prices on the Shanghai Composite stock, the track prices were weaker than yesterday for the commodities, and only light crude oil was gaining. So the price of copper, Janine, that's why Janine thinks Steve is wrong about the price of copper. Which factor can cause the price of oil to rise?
Rise in Egypt can cause the price of oil to rise. Commodities are mentioned in the dialogue. Copper, oil, and copper and oil.
So you say what factor can cause price of oil to rise? Why?
Yes, riots and
yeah,
in Egypt, and
also like investments. Look here, the French invested in some European banks, so they pay a lot of money into it. What commodities are mentioned in the dialogue?
Oil and copper.
Copper. Very
Copper. Copper.
Which business sector
may be threatened by the situation in Egypt, according to Jane. Business sector. Business sector like banks, because they invested money.
Which business sector may be threatened the situation in Egypt, according to the meaning? Which business sector? You can say the European banks.
Banks. What may cause the stock to rocket at the end of the week?
Only some European banks. Okay, what may cause the stocks to rocket at the end of the week? Yes.
Price of copper.
Price of copper and what?
And situation in Egypt.
On oil.
On oil.
On crude oil. Because crude oil also determines the prices on the on the stock.
Yes.
Yes, very good. Okay, exercise 5.
Alright.
And then we finish.
What means of investing money to you now? What means of investing money? Do you know? Investing money in shares. Yes.
Shares.
At the bank. As the bank bonds and this saving account on your saving account.
Do
you try to multiply your savings? No, I don't try to multiply my savings. Or invest. You can invest it in buildings. In general, it's called buildings in house, on the house market. On the house market. Would you say stock markets are more about investing money or gambling? Let's say stock markets.
Well, more about investing money or gambling.
Gambling. I think they are more about investing money. Do you think it should be forbidden for companies to acquire capital by selling its shares on the stock market? Shouldn't forbidden for companies to acquire capital by selling its shares? No, it shouldn't forbidden
For companies to acquire.
companies to acquire capital by selling its shares
On stock market.
on
Very
stock
good.
markets.
Excellent.
Ta-da!
Great. So
It's a
some
long
few
lesson.
5 words you remember from today's lesson.
Volunteer,
Mm-hmm.
volunteer and to volunteer. To volunteer.
No.
No, volunteer to follow.
And which type of organization?
Voluntary. Voluntary,
Mhm.
to voluntary and a volunteer. And sewer, sewage, sewage, and dispose of something, and circle, a circle to circle.
Yeah, and
And
today's events.
a emergency and fuel.
Great.
I think, yes.
Sure too. Thank you very much.
Yes, and finally we are finishing. It's done. Thank you. Bye. In my estimation.
Excellent. Okay. So permit. To permit.
To permit is pozwalać.
A permit.
A permit is pozwolenie.
Excellent. Are there fewer public places where smoking permitted nowadays than there used to be? Are there fewer public places where smoking is permitted nowadays than there used to be?
Yes, there are only a few public places where smoking is permitted.
Okay. Than they used to be.
Than used to be.
Okay. Why?
Because smoking is prohibited in public places in general.
Excellent. What permits you to access files on your computer? What permits you to access files on your computer?
Password
Excellent.
permits me to access files on my computer.
Excellent. What buildings are we usually not permitted to take photographs of? What buildings are we usually not permitted to take photographs of?
We are not permitted to take photographs of military buildings, I think now.
Okay, most of
Only. Yeah, and governmental buildings maybe, but not military.
Yeah, military. Yeah. How old must a man or a woman be before they are permitted to get married? How old must a man / woman be before they are permitted to get married?
People in Poland must be, I think, at least 18 to be permitted to get married, but still I think it's 18 for women, for men and 16 for men and 18 for women, but I don't know. Maybe.
Who would get married at 16?
Yeah, because maybe they don't want that 2 young girls get pregnant. And that's why, yes.
So they were like, they'll be like, oh, okay, you can get.
Yeah,
so you can get married.
And yeah, so that's why they are at least 18.
Interesting.
I think maybe it's.
That's an interesting solution.
It's a root of it. Yes. So,
wow.
Maybe.
I've never thought about that, like being a solution to early pregnancies. In teenagers. That's a very interesting solution. Do you need a permit to park your car in a place for the disabled? Do you need a permit to park your car in a place of the disabled?
Yes, I need a permit to be able to park a car for in a place for disabled.
Excellent. What do citizens of a foreign country need to work abroad? What do citizens of a foreign country need to work abroad?
Citizens of foreign country need a work permit to work abroad.
Excellent. Sees
Sees. Sees in a violent way. Sees.
Yeah, exactly.
Sees and
Sees.
and
It's
then
one simple word. Sees.
and grab. Sees and grab. Yes, in a violent way.
Yeah, with sees it's very violent. It's only used in official terms, like a government seized your property, like what a bank seized this. Yeah, usually official things.
And when we are having it for the second or third time, I pay attention to these things, and for the first time, it's like, oh no,
Yeah.
and doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then grab too. It's more also violent because if somebody grabs your arm, you're always like, you grabbing my arm. It's almost like you can with force and took my arm.
And then it was grasp, yes,
And then grip.
and grip.
Yes.
And also it's a grip, so
Yeah. A hand grip.
a hand grip.
Yeah.
And grasp.
Yeah.
Firmly and firmly and firmly.
So so seize, you can
Chwytać.
do you have the same thing? I forgot. Grasp,
Chwytać.
grab,
Chwytać.
grip,
Grip. Chwytać, trzymać.
same thing. Extend.
Extend, rozmiar.
Excellent. Do some people become rich because they can recognize the opportunity, seize it, and develop it to the fullest extent? Do some people become rich because they can recognize the opportunity, seize it, and develop it to the fullest extent?
Yes, some people become rich because they can recognize opportunities, seize it,
and
develop
it
to the fullest extent.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And develop it to its fullest extent. What do you think the expression seize the day means? What do you think the expression seize the day means?
The expression seize the day means that you can enjoy, okay, enjoy every day to the fullest extent.
Excellent. Enjoy it to the fullest extent. Don't worry about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Very
Okay,
good.
yes, don't worry about tomorrow is the best.
Yeah, like live in the moment.
Hakuna Matata? Yes?
Yeah, Hakuna
Hakuna Matata, or in
Excellent.
Spanish it's
Hakuna
mañana,
Matata.
mañana.
Ah, really? Okay. Mañana.
Mañana. So tomorrow.
Here they say the expression seize the day means to enjoy the pleasures of the moment and not to worry much about the future. Yeah. For me, I simply say live in the moment because that's much more simpler. The bolt tires ensure a firm grip in slippery conditions. The bolt tires ensure a firm grip in slippery conditions.
No, bolt tires don't ensure a
A
firm grip in slippery conditions.
Excellent. The Germans seized control of almost all of Europe during World War II. The Germans, I don't like the Germans. Did the Germans seize control of almost all of Europe during World War II?
Yes, the Germans seized control over almost all Europe during the World War II.
Excellent. Would a glass bottle probably break if it slipped from your grasp and fell on the floor? Would a glass bottle probably break if it slipped from your grasp and fell to the floor?
Yes, a bottle of water.
Which type of bottle? A glass.
A glass bottle of water
Probably break.
Would probably break if it slipped from my grip.
Excellent.
And fall down
on the
floor.
Or your grasp.
On my grasp.
Here you can use either grasp or from your hand grip. And then
hand grip or grasp.
Fell on your and fell on the floor.
On the floor, okay.
If you slipped on wet on wet stairs, what could you grip to save yourself from falling down the stairs? if you slipped on wet stairs,
Yes.
what could you grip to save yourself from falling down the stairs?
If I slip on a wet floors,
Stairs.
stairs,
I would grip.
a grip of
I would grip. No, I would grip.
a grip.
No preposition. Just I would grip. What would you grip?
I would grip. Okay, I would grip a
The handrail.
handrail to
Save
myself from falling down
the
stairs. Okay.
But from falling, if you say you slipped on wet stairs, it's definitely you're going to fall down the stairs. It's not like you're gonna fall somewhere else.
I can get it, but to be so precise.
To be very precise, yeah. But if you're in book 6, you know. When you shake hands with a person, do you prefer it when his grasp is cool and firm? When you shake hands with a person, do you prefer it when his grasp is cool and firm?
When I shake hands with somebody, I prefer that the grasp is firm and warm, not cool.
Okay, not cool. Okay. Do dogs sometimes grab food and run away? Do dogs sometimes grab food and run away?
Yes, dogs sometimes grab food and run away to eat it behind the house.
Okay. Has anyone ever tried to grab your mobile phone in the street? Has anyone ever tried to grab your mobile phone in the street?
No one has ever tried to grab my mobile phone and run away.
Yeah, okay. After you finish this course, will you have a good grasp of English? After you finish this course, will you have a good grasp of English?
Yes, if I finish this course, I will have a good grasp of English.
Excellent. If you want to climb a tall ladder, must you grasp it with both hands? If you want to climb a tall ladder, must you grasp it with both hands?
Yes, if I want to climb a tall ladder, I must grasp it with both hands.
Excellent. Do all people grasp the importance of good education? Do all people grasp the importance of good education?
No, not people grasp. Not all people grasp the importance of good education.
Excellent. So sewed, sewn.
Okay. Siać. Sewed, sewn.
Scatter.
Scattered, rozsiewać.
Scatter.
Yes.
Scatter, only scattered. Because it's a verb to scatter.
Rozrzucać.
Scattered, yeah.
Scattered, yes?
Yeah, it's a verb. Can be scattered would be in the past. So
scatter.
Yeah.
To scatter.
Sow the seeds of doubt. Sow the seeds of doubt.
Sow the seeds of doubt. Zasiać ziarno niepewności.
Okay. Is grass seed sown in rows? Is grass seed sown in rows?
No, grass isn't sown in rows. Sown is it's passive. It isn't sowed.
No, sown.
It isn't sown.
Sown. And with
sown. It isn't sown in rows, but it's scattered.
Excellent. All over the ground. Very good.
All over the ground.
Are stars scattered all over the sky?
Yes, stars are scattered all over the sky.
Yeah, very simple. How can you sow the seeds of doubt in someone? How can you sow the seeds of doubt in someone?
I can see the.
You can sow.
I can sow the seeds of doubt in someone by saying, Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? All the time.
Yeah. Okay. So accompany. Accompany.
Accompany.
Translate.
Towarzyszyć.
Okay. During the thunderstorm, what is the stroke of lightning accompanied by? Accompanied by. During a thunderstorm, what's the stroke of lightning accompanied by?
During a thunderstorm,
Grant.
Grant, dotować, grant, dotacja. Grant in British, grant.
To reward.
Reward, nagroda.
Okay, a reward.
A reward, nagroda, nagradać.
Aid.
Aid, pomoc.
First aid kit.
First aid kit, apteczka.
Equipment.
Equipment, wyposażenie.
Fire extinguisher.
Fire extinguisher, gaśnica.
Take it for granted.
Take it for granted. Uznać coś za pewnik, tak? Przyjąć coś za oczywiste.
A grant is money we receive from the government or any other organization for a particular purpose. We receive a reward for something good we have done. What's the difference between a grant and a reward? What's the difference between a grant and a reward?
A grant is something that we receive from a government or
is money.
It's money that we receive from a government or an particular organization, and reward is something that we receive for doing something well.
Okay. For doing something well, for something good we have done.
Okay.
Does the government grant financial aid to Does the government grant financial aid to the unemployed? Does the government grant financial aid to the unemployed?
Yes, the government grant financial aid for unemployed.
Do private institutions sometimes grant money in aid of medical research? Do private institutions sometimes grant money in aid of medical research?
Yes, some private institution grant some money for medical research.
Okay. Do people sometimes offer a reward for help in finding a missing dog? Do people sometimes offer a reward for help in finding a missing dog?
Yes, some people offer a reward for finding a dog. A missing dog and hanging it on walls, on trees, whatever around.
Oh, when they announce it, when they're announcing it, okay. Have you ever received a reward for excellent marks at school? Have you ever received a reward for excellent marks at school?
No, I've never received a reward for excellent marks at school.
Okay. What kind of things do children take for granted? What kind of things do children take for granted?
Children take for granted that parents love them, will love them. No.
We always be around.
They will be always around. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because they can, pass away. Usually. Do some of us take having a supply of oil for granted? Do some of us take having a supply of oil for granted?
Yes, some of us take supplying for oil for granted. Having a supply for oil for granted.
Okay. Give me an example of an essential piece of equipment in a vehicle. Give me an example of an essential piece of equipment in a vehicle.
An essential.
Yeah, you can start already with the name.
Okay. Fire extinguisher, first aid kit, and the spare wheel is are essential pieces of equipment in a car.
Okay, in a vehicle. Excellent.
A vehicle.
So, so you're going to ask me some questions. Let's see. Okay, take it for granted.
What do you take for granted in your life? Pay taxes and die. It's a common expression.
Really? Like we take it for granted?
I don't know, but it's very popular to say this way in Poland.
Yeah, really. Taxes on the what?
That you will pay taxes, that you have to pay taxes, and that you will die.
Yeah,
The two
probably
things-
I take for granted life. Yeah, because we can die at any moment. And yeah, probably.
Yes, okay.
Think, can you, with C's?
Sees.
Mm-hmm. C's.
Sees. Do you always see many opportunities to become a millionaire? Sees it
And sees them.
and sees them and I don't know, use it, use them and develop them.
No, always sees
And
them.
sees them, okay.
And develop them.
Develop them.
To the full, okay.
To the fullest extent.
Yes, when I see opportunities to become a millionaire, I seize them and develop them to the first extent. Okay, to estimate.
As to estimate, is it easy to estimate the number of words you are going to learn or to teach from this book?
Is it easy?
Is it easy, or is it possible to estimate the number of words you can learn from this book?
Yes,
Yes.
it's possible to estimate the number of words you can learn from this book.
Mhm.
Okay, to permit.
To permit. To
No, to permit. Not a
permit.
permit. To permit.
To permit and it's a verb, yes?
Mhm.
No, to permit. And yeah, I don't have good ideas for it. To
Okay.
permit, is it?
Yeah, it's like allowed.
It's allowed. Who can
Places,
permit?
permits. I don't know. Smoking.
Who can, yes?
Who can
Permit.
give you permission? Permit.
It's a noun,
Okay, permit you.
And what was the example in the book?
Yeah, I was going to tell you, say, what places permit something, for example.
Places permit.
Yeah, like for example, which kind of places permits people, like permits smoking, which kind of places permits them.
Okay.
Restaurants, bars, something.
That is always, do you have a permission? Do you have a permit?
No.
To permit, yes.
Okay, so
Or give me a sentence from the book. How they used it? What was the
are
context?
there fewer public places where smoking permitted nowadays than there used to be?
This
What
is
permits you to access files on your computer?
What permits you?
Yeah, to access files on your computer. What buildings are we usually
Okay.
not permitted to take photographs
So
of?
it's passive voice.
Must be her. Age people must
Are
be.
you permitted? Passive voice, yes, it's a verb.
Am I permitted what?
Are you permitted to smoke at this school? Smoke marijuana in this school?
No, I'm not
No.
permitted to smoke. I don't smoke. Okay, very good. Last one, like company. Company.
A company.
Mhm.
Towarzyszyć. It's also passive voice, probably, yes? They use it in passive voice. Are you always accompanied by good friends when you go to to a pub?
Yes, I'm always accompanied by good friends whenever I go to a pub.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't go to the pub, to church.
Yeah, to church.
To church.
Okay. So we go with Unit 13, new lesson.